It is a beautiful morning out here at the river house. The river has gone down a lot. You see all that was water before, and now it's mud. I'd go down and show it to you, but I gave blood yesterday here, so I'm not going to give blood a second day in a row down there. Lots of things to take care of before we head out to the mines this year. So we'll just very quickly run through. I was given a winch yesterday by a friend. It's off an old Cat. Don't know much of anything about it yet. Some of you probably will. It says N2-108 K6-19-1. Alright. Old Carco or something. He had this sitting out there, and I made a comment. It's like, oh, I had one just like that when I was a kid. So he was cleaning up and he gave me this one. That was unexpected. It needs some work. But don't they all? So what we're here today to do, I want to get that Thompson's water seal and spray the new deck. I want to get the backhoe down and parked under the house so it's out of the weather. This trailer needs to be unloaded. The garbage trailer needs to be hooked up, load to go to the dump, hook up the water system, and we should be high cotton. It's kind of a scattered little episode. Somebody, and forgive me if I've forgotten your name, suggested that instead of dealing with my switching system to turn the pump on and off, I should put a float switch in the tank and then use a water timer here. I tried it, and unfortunately I found out that the battery operated water timers require pressure to open them, and I don't have enough pressure with the gravity feed right there at the tank, even if I fill it all the way to the top. So it didn't work. I'm going to look into seeing if other brands require that, or if other brands open up without water pressure, but as of right now that idea didn't work, though it was really quite a bit simpler. So I'm back to switching my pump on and off. I got the deer fencing up. This is what I built to do it. I probably should have filmed making them because it was a pretty slick idea, but it's also a really simple idea. I cut 2x4s and 2x6s 6 feet long into 1/2-inch strips. I then stapled the wire to the board, and then I screw the two boards together, and so I make this cage around it. So they're all set up. I'd like to mow all the weeds one last time before we take off. Like I said, a lot of random stuff. Someone had asked about the hoe. Yeah, it's back together. Dad took it home and did the welding. He had to build a jig to hold it centered, and then just over the course of several hours slowly built up a big massive knoll to try to hold it all together. Inside he cut new bushings. They're not hardened steel like the other side, they're just a mild steel, but bushings nonetheless. So yeah, the hoe is back up and running. Dad said it welded weird since it was cast steel, but it did weld. At this point, it's just a matter of fingers crossed. That's a Model 31 hoe. Apparently they only used it for 2 or 3 years, and then they went to the Model 32, which is much more common and was used for decades. You can find a lot of Model 32 parts. Unfortunately, the swing cylinders for a 32, judging from the measurements, would not fit a 31 without a tremendous amount of work. So when I thought I found parts, it turns out I hadn't found any parts. We were kind of stuck with it. If it breaks again, or breaks bad enough it can't be fixed, we might be stuck trying to retrofit something else completely different. For the moment, she's working. I'm careful with it, but she's working. Let's get that deck done. I believe that's what the Thompson folks would refer to as an over-application. But I did want it to run down along the sides of things, and I can see I haven't done that particularly well. Whatever. It's good enough. Half hour or so, whatever hasn't soaked in, I'll sweep off with the broom. It'll shed water. Alright, here is the current water system. And it's a staggering bit of quality craftsmanship. So the 220 comes out of that conduit right there into this. Look at that box. Look at that box. Gorgeous! Into that box. The pixies then come out of there through these crusty wires right here to the pressure switch. Out of the pressure switch down into the pump controller, and out of the pump controller to the pump. And we're going to cut a lot of this out because, as far as I'm concerned, since we're not using that, that's just a point of failure. In theory, it's just locked on because, as you'll see, the pump isn't even connected to that line. So what I want to do is I want to separate it from right here, and I want the power to go to this box right there, and I got a 220 outlet that I want to put in there. Then I'm going to make up a pigtail off of what is essentially this line right here. So the power will plug into my outlet and it'll go to the pump controller. But before the pump controller will be that hot water heater timer switch. And it's a switch for folks who, well, I mean, you'd add it to your hot water heater so that your hot water heater would turn itself off, say, while you're at work or at school, and that way you're not heating a bunch of water for somebody who's not going to be using it. Also, I guess in a lot of places the power is at different prices, different times of day, so you could set it so your hot water heater makes use of the lower price power and then kicks off and you sort of coast for your hot water for the rest of the day. Anyways, it should be more than big enough to run this pump by the amperages, so I'm going to splice it into the line. And because I couldn't get that battery operated water timer switch to function without water pressure, which was a big surprise to me, it looks like it takes maybe 20 psi, 15 psi, something like that to release it. Because I couldn't get it to run with that water pressure, I guess I'm back stuck to doing that. So the timer switch will kick on, the pump will just dump water into the tank, and it'll flow out to the sprinkler sits, and it'll just run. And so I'll let the pump run for 20-25 minutes. I timed it yesterday. It's 40 minutes to fill that 425 gallon tank. So you know, I'll let it run for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. Maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. I don't want to flood the apple trees or get a lot of like mold and stuff into the roots. So I don't want them to die of thirst. I also don't want them to die of drink. Let's not make them waterholics. So now what we need to do is cut this loose and begin splicing it together. And I got to deal with the fact that I don't completely understand. 220 confuses me a little bit, so I'm gonna have to sit there with the instruction manual and tinker and fiddle and whatnot. I also don't completely trust that even when I shut power off, that power is actually shut off. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn off some breaker boxes. See if I can figure this out. So this is where our power comes in. It comes in that one right there, which is just jumpered. Goes into this one, which is jumpered. Goes into that, which is the well. And it also appears to come down into here, maybe. Well, that's killed power to that. But that's irregardless of the well, so that doesn't matter here. The well goes into this one, into this one, and this one's turned off. You know what? I think I'm going to walk up to the main box and turn the whole thing off, because I don't trust any of that. Oh man, I hate electricity. Okay, here we go. No problem. Just kidding. Here we are at the end of a long and exhausting, and I'm not sure it's a day that we can claim a tremendous amount of stuff accomplished, but getting what we need to. Alright, we're a minute 30 from finding out if that timer is going to work properly now. I vacuumed out all the scum that I could get anyways, which now appears there wasn't a whole lot out of the tank, so hopefully there's less stuff to plug the lines. My use of sticks in my 1/4-inch hoses is not going to work because a number of the sticks have swelled and plugged them entirely, so I've got a whole jar of the little end pieces. I guess I'll have to use them. I hope this crap doesn't get down and plug them, but it would have got down and plugged my little sticks too, so be it. Ooh, I thought I heard this click. No, pump's not running yet. 30 seconds. We went, unloaded everything at the dump. I got to get these barrels picked up off the edge of the hill here so that a surprise windstorm doesn't send them down into traffic. That wouldn't be fun for somebody. And then pick up some stuff, I guess. More or less, I think we're closing in on done. Alright. It didn't come on, but I know why. I have it set to come on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's Thursday. So I'm gonna have to reset for another test. Alright, so 15 seconds as I bow down here to the mosquito gods. 4, 3, 2, 1. She came on. Pushing 40 psi. And you can see the water backflowing in there. Crap. If I don't come up with something, that stuff's definitely going to go down in the lines and plug it. Okay. That's the little skimmer I made. Put the boy on it. He had a good time in there splunking. I just have to do that again. Drain field, all nice and raked. It's going to be sad to see it slowly turn into knapweed, but I'll get it figured out later. Got the backhoe in here, way in here. That winch I unloaded is actually in the bucket. I used it as ballast so that it didn't wheel stand up and smash the floor joists. Worked great. So the hole is entirely covered up to right here.
Those joints are going to sit out, and it's going to turn into a bit of a mosquito pond. Maybe I'll pour a whisper of diesel in there, David's Farm style. With this ram all the way out, it's going to drip an awful lot of, it's going to empty this ram. So it looks like the mosquito problem should take care of itself in a few days. If it has a little tiny oil slick, even just a rainbow sheen, then it coats their wings when they try to emerge, and they can't fly away, and then they drown. Not that I'm advocating, but if you got big areas that you just can't, a little bit of diesel fuel will take care of it. Yeah, right through the jeans. Okay, well, I think this is it. Tomorrow I'll put them little thingies in the doodads so my water doesn't come splooshing out too fast or too slow. We'll call it a day. I'm going to cover this for tonight, program it tomorrow. I'm going to go just kill power. Program it for tomorrow. I can have it maybe come on 4 or 5 times while I'm here, just to prove that it's going to continue to do it. Lots of it needs to be redone, but this will take us through.